Once again, we're asking you on Twitter, should this be Wenger's final season at Arsenal? Yes, says 65%. Somewhere in the world, there are 35% that still think Arsene Wenger should be the coach of Arsenal next season. Before we get the opinions of the boys on the couch, we've got to bring in Arsene Wenger's #1 supporter. Stuart Robson is with us. Robbo, you've been calling for his head for many years now, yet he still seems to be supported by a big group of fans.
Yeah, they've seen nothing different over the years. They've seen Arsene Wenger as the only manager. Some of the young supporters have only seen Arsene Wenger as a manager, and they'll say, be careful for what you wish for, and we're still in the top 4, and we'll get European football. But you see the same mistakes happen over and over again. Arsene Wenger said after the game against Watford that he wasn't sure his team were properly prepared. That's his job as the manager, and I've seen it so many times when they've lost games at home and had bad first halves. Underprepared mentally, underprepared tactically, underprepared physically. It goes on, and it happens week in, week out whenever they lose football matches. He's got to go at some point.
This is the argument, though, isn't it, that some people say, Robbo brought it up well, in fact, that they say, look, better the devil you know. You know with Arsene Wenger, he's going to get you top 4, he's going to get you Champions League football, he's going to be consistent.
So how long, right, here's my counter-argument. At some point, that has to change, right?
But the people in charge maybe don't want it to change.
Arsene Wenger,
the owners are happy because Arsene Wenger is making their club money.
No, and that's the problem. Not the problem for them. That's the problem that I have, and I think a lot of people. They're comfortable. And we talked about this yesterday, the day before with Gab. Until Arsenal fans really start to stamp their feet, shout, protest, put pressure on the board, do it on match days, do it out the director box, do it in the thousands, it probably won't change. But here's the deal, Arsenal were going to have to change at some point, because Wenger can't go on forever. They're frightened to make that change at the moment. So unless this season really spins around and 1, they win the title, which I don't think they're going to do, 2, they knock Bayern Munich out, which I don't think they're going to do, then there's no reason why he should be managing that football club come the start of next season. Surely even he himself can see that.
What's happened to him, Stevie? Because Robbo brought up the point that the players are going out underprepared. Has that always been the case?
I don't think anything's happened to him. He's always been the same. I think he's just... I think with the players he brought in at the start of his tenure all had ability, the same as the team that he has now has ability, but they had that extra desire, determination, bigger hearts, all the horrible side of the game. They could do that as well, but the team he has now doesn't, and he's not prepared, I don't think, to spend money, because in today's game you have to spend more money than everybody else to get that type of player, and he's not prepared, #1, and #2, the only way it changes is if there's enough supporters decide that being 4th, maybe getting to an FA Cup final, which again nobody's bothered about anymore. Maybe winning a League Cup. Oh, nobody's bothered about that anymore either. And getting past the quarter-finals of the Champions League. Unless the supporters make enough noise, nothing's going to change.
This weekend sees Arsenal travel to Stamford Bridge to take on top of the table Chelsea. As it stands, 9 points separate these two sides going into the clash this weekend. The SBI, as you would expect, has got Chelsea big favourites, 53%. To win this game. Robbo, you fancy Arsenal though for this?
I think it's the sort of game that Arsenal can play well in. I said they're underprepared. They were underprepared a couple of years ago when they lost 6-0 at Chelsea or 4-0 down at half-time. But they can motivate themselves for the odd game. I don't think Chelsea will come out and try and win the game right from the start. I think Chelsea will play slightly defensively, and it might suit Arsenal. They can get their passing game going. They won't have to earn the right to play by having a battle to start with, because that's when they have a problem, as Craig said. They haven't got battlers in their side right at the start of games. So I think Arsenal may have a chance, not particularly to go and dominate the game, but get a point or actually win it.
I was not expecting that answer, Robbo. I was winding you up.
I can see Arsenal doing well in this game.
Wow.
Arsenal, you don't know with Arsenal. Every so often they'll have a game like they did against Watford, the first half against Bournemouth, the first half against Preston, where they've played so badly, so underprepared, so lackadaisical, but they'll come out against Chelsea, and I'm sure the fans will be fired up for the game, the players will be fired up for that game, and Arsene Wenger will say afterwards, there we are, we're mentally prepared. We're much better mentally than we were last year. And then 2 weeks down the road, they'll have another poor performance. And they'll say, well, perhaps we're not quite as mentally prepared. It goes on and on and on. You can only have to look back at the last 8 seasons to see what's going to happen.
It's a vicious cycle, isn't it?
In Robbo's head, it is.
He's completely stuffed us because we had a bet and he's not mentioned fullbacks once.
I know, Robbo. We were
He's not
expecting.
mentioned fullbacks once. He's completely stuffed us. I don't forget this is the game at the Emirates that really kick-started Chelsea's season.
Yeah.
Because Arsenal gave them an absolute hammering. And it sent almost Conte back to his basics and he thought, do you know what? I'm going to live or die by my decisions here and how I do it and how I have done it at Juventus. And I have to get the balance right in the team. I've got to change the shape. And he did all that. And the rest is sort of history. But I think it suits... and we talked about it after the Liverpool game with Stevie. The onus on the other teams is to get the points, to attack because of the position they're in. Chelsea can sit back, which is what they do particularly well, and they can allow Arsenal to try and attack them, which they did with Liverpool, and then they'll try and hit them on
Is
the
there a
counter.
prediction at the end of all this?
Is that what you asked for?
Well, yeah.
Well, you didn't say to me, oh, Robbo, give us a prediction. You said, what do you think is going to happen?
Right, I
So I'm
believe...
giving you an
sorry.
answer.
Okay,
If you
so
said,
what
give
do
me a
you
prediction, I
think
would
is
have
going to
said-
happen? I reckon is
Well, he made-
what do you think is going to happen?
You made Robbo's prediction for him.
Yeah.
You already made Robbo's prediction.
Right, so what do you think?
I'm going for a home win.
Boys, you're on tomorrow's show, so you can wait until then to give us your prediction. Do you think Allegri can bring a title to the Emirates?
Well, you'd have to become the Arsenal manager first. But yeah, sure. I think the one thing to remember is if Wenger goes at some point in the future and doesn't remain there for all eternity, whoever comes in is going to say, we're going to need this much spending, and you're going to have a new director of football, you're going to do things differently. It's going to be a different club.
Right.
And if those circumstances with Arsenal's resources, sure, why not? I mean, Allegri's won league titles before. There's no reason he couldn't do it.
I come out so slowly. Like, what's going on beforehand?
Because that's the makeup of the team that they have. They don't have a bunch of guys who are going to be punching the wall before they come out. It's all nice. It's about, you know, I can hear Wenger sitting in the room, the dressing room before the game, talking about passing and moving and passing and moving. You've got to win the right before you do anything. Because in the Premier League, you can't just walk on the field and everybody's going to stand back and let you play.
But the guy
You
who's...
have to win the fight, and they never are prepared for the fight.
Well, the guy they signed who was supposed to be a little bit nasty, of course, is Granit Xhaka, but he gets sent off.
It's too nasty.
Yeah, but no, Wenger knew that, didn't he? I mean, that's...
But that's why he signed him, you know, because he has that edge. And
Yeah, but he's got to play within the laws of the game, which clearly, looking at his record in Germany, even for a young guy, I think 23 at the time when he came to Arsenal, he couldn't do that. Look, if we're presuming once again for a change, Arsenal are not going to win the league, right?
Yeah. Well, they're not going to win it, are they? They're 9 points.
They're not going to win the league, but never thought they would win the league. They haven't done enough. If we're presuming Bayern Munich are going to put them out Champions League, I'd imagine that's what's going to happen, especially the way they look at the moment and the way they're defending. There's no fudge in this. Not that we ever do with Arsenal or anybody else, but there's just a great opportunity to start putting some points together. And this is an Arsenal side. And I don't want to hear anybody say, oh, Arsene Wenger's in the stand, and that's the difference. Because it's not. Playing Watford, who hardly won a game in recent weeks, you're at home, right? It ain't good enough. This team as a whole, not a club, a team, have no bottle for this big fight. Every year, it's no coincidence. No coincidence that they're nice, but ultimately they fall short. There's too many players at Arsenal getting paid big bucks, big money, just to pitch up when they feel like it. Put the Arsenal shirt on and finish in that top four, because everyone at that club...
Like who? Which players?
Well, some of the bigger ones, Ozil, Koscielny, I'll go through them all. They're all decent players, but everyone looks happy. It's the happy to be their club, happy to be in the top four club, happy to get paid, happy to be in the new stadium. Whilst other teams have topsy-turvy times, but ultimately you'll have a United winning the league and dropping off, City win the league, dropping off, Chelsea win the league, dropping off. Arsenal is consistent, but it's consistently average.
And that comes to Wenger. Part of the manager's job is to put pressure on players to produce on the field. So when you've got a bunch of guys with ability, I mean, where's the Ozil we saw last year? He's completely disappeared because he's getting a free run. It didn't seem to me as though somebody's putting pressure on to perform. It just seems like it's, well, they'll be all right when you go and play. And you look at Arsenal again. They don't start well. That's because, as Craig said, it's all nice. I can see Arsene Wenger in the dressing room before the game talking about, oh, get the ball moving and let's get everybody running and all the lovely things. How's about you've got to win the fight before you can start doing that stuff? And Arsenal never do it. And it's because Arsene Wenger doesn't get them going before the game.
Arsene Wenger didn't make any excuses after the game, saying we've got to use this as a lesson going forward. Going forward where, Gab? Where is there any sort of hope if you're an Arsenal fan?
Well, from what I saw, he felt let down. He talked about, needing to win the duels, needing to win the one-on-ones. I think this is one of those situations where if Arsene were sitting here next to you, he'd be nodding along to what Craig is saying, actually, because, and I don't like talking about fight and stuff because I foolishly assume everybody's professional and up for it and whatever. But it's hard to interpret this any other way. And Wenger himself pretty much said as much. They're not winning the duels. It becomes an issue of bottle. And I hate saying it, but
if I'm an Arsenal fan and the manager says, this is a lesson we need to learn from. Hold on a second. Is this the first time this has happened? I mean, this has been going on for years.
Arsenal fans don't even know what they want. They were going to have a protest last year, and some of them pitched up for a protest, and the other ones were saying, sit down, you're not having a protest because Arsene Wenger's great. No, he's not. Yes, he is. That's how embarrassing this is. Right, and they need to go back to the fight. Granit Xhaka was going to come in and give him this grip. Okay, he still doesn't know where the boundaries are, right, clearly, which he didn't know when he was in Germany either. That's a worry. But as somebody pointed out to me the other day, well, Burley, the Invincibles had players sent off, and the teams in the 90s had players sent off with Tony Adams and all that. Yes, but people missed the point. These teams were successful, and they could do without the odd player for 2 or 3 games, because they had others to come in. The supporting cast was a lot better. What Arsenal need is a core of their big earners to perform almost week in, week out, like these great Arsenal sides of the past. And frankly, they don't have it.
They're done, aren't they? Their season's done, Gab. They're not going to win the Premier League. They're not going to win the Champions League. Maybe they'll win the FA Cup.
It's not as if Bayern are coming along as a house on fire. I mean, I know they're top of the...
So Arsenal going to win the Champions League?
Well, I don't know, but I mean, you got to let them at least go out and play the game and have a go. And I think in a situation like this, actually, just to add to what Craig said, I think there's another guy who we sort of forget about that could have helped in this situation, which is a guy like Santi Cazorla, who's not necessarily, you can either do it with the Granit Xhaka type who's got the fight, whatever, but somebody like Santi Cazorla with being shoe-footed, with being able to open up
It was the same when he was playing, Gab.
Well, no, but they were doing better when he was there.
Playing.
They were doing better when he was there. Now they're not doing as well.
How long has he been there, Cazorla?
Yeah, I'm not.
This is his 3rd year.
I'm not
And we've
saying-
seen the same thing for the last 2 years, and we're seeing it again this year.
When Arsenal get knocked out of the Champions League, and it will happen, and I'm sorry if Arsenal fans don't like that. I'm sorry, but it's true.
Don't say sorry. You don't mean it.
Oh, no,
No, yeah.
Shut
Who are you
up.
apologising to,
Let me just go on, yeah. Do not say that. The guy's got to go.
Yeah.
Wenger has to go. This club has to show some bottle. Somebody upstairs, the money men, the decision makers, have to say, are we frightened to have a change and freshen it up? If the answer is yes, then keep Arsene Wenger,
Craig,
because you'll get in the top 4 and that's fine.
We're back to square one with this. I mean, Arsene Wenger's been there a long time. He makes the club a lot of money. Who is above him? You have Ivan Gazidis, who tries to keep the club ticking over, but ultimately, it's not Ivan's club. He doesn't own the club. The club the majority belongs to a man named Stan Kroenke, who's come out and quite clearly has said and has indicated that, yes, he'd love to win and he likes success and being in the top 4, but he's running a business.
Yeah. Well,
That's not going to change that.
Well, that's
And
my
that suits
point.
him and that suits Wenger.
And then if you're Alexis Sanchez, I'm picking up the phone, ringing your boy
I'm
Ancelotti and saying, hey, Ribery and Robin are getting old now. Come and get me.
Yeah, and then if I'm Ancelotti, I say, well, Alexis, sorry, how old are you now? No, let's try to freshen things up a little bit.
I mean, that's the whole point here, is that if that's what Arsenal people want, then stick with it. But then don't be surprised when some of your so-called bigger players decide, I'm out of here, because I can sense as good a money, but better success in Italy or in Germany or somewhere else in England. And then don't say, oh, look at those money grabbers. Oh, look at those people, turning their back on Arsenal. Well, Of course they're going to turn the back, if that's what it's all about every year.
When actually, it's the other way around. Arsenal are the one that are turning back. You sign people like Ozil, you sign people like Sanchez. You must expect them that they want to win things.
Sure.
So who's letting who down?